Good morning, friends. Myself, Viral Mehta, and we have Mr. Pankaj Murarka from IIFL, from Renaissance, who will be taking our session today. He'll be updating us on our markets and the alpha portfolios. Extremely sorry for making you all wait for another 5 minutes. There were some minor technical glitches which we wanted to sort it out beforehand. We'll wait for a minute or so that our other friends can join, and we'll start within next sharp 50-60 seconds. So we'll request Pankaj ji to start the session. Pankaj ji, am I audible?
Yes, Viral, you are.
Yeah. So just give you one, two-liner of more introduction. Let everyone, all of our friends and colleagues, even our customers, be aware of it. You are basically a veteran. Everybody are aware of it, but still, for the entire audience per se, Pankaj sir is the founder and CIO of Renaissance. Has more than 2.5 decades of experience, and we are associated with quite some time now. And we have his two main portfolios which are running selling like a hot cake on the marketplaces like Small Case and Wealth Desk. And over to you, Pankaj sir. We would request you to guide and sail through us on the market scenario, current market piece. If you are able to touch base upon yesterday's fall as well as on the RBI repo rates increase, that would be more than helpful. And post which you can give us update on the both our portfolios.
Sure, Viral. Sure.
Thank you.
Just one thing I want to check. How much time do we have so that I can pace myself accordingly?
We have 40 odd minutes, post which we will take some Q&A session.
Okay, sure.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, friends. Very warm welcome to all of you all. And thank you very much for taking your precious time out on a Saturday morning and spending with us. Saturday mornings are special. So you guys taking time out on Saturday morning is really appreciated. So maybe I'll quickly give you some perspective on, as Viral said, on markets because there is a lot of noise happening. हाँ मैं कोशिश करूँगा. I see some message that speak in Hindi. So मैं थोड़ा हिंदी इंग्लिश कॉम्बिनेशन करता हूँ. मैं हिंदी slightly Bombay Hindi, so it's not a perfect Hindi. So you'll have to excuse me for my use of language, but I'll do मैं हिंदी इंग्लिश का combination करके बोलूँगा. So as I said, so I'm sure कि ये थोड़ा सा बाजार में लास्ट 2-3 महीने से बाजार काफी volatile और उसको लेके काफी concerns हैं या investors थोड़े से worried हैं. तो मैं 2-3 चीज बताना चाहूँगा और I would like to express my view on the markets. So one, friends, I firmly believe that Indian equities are in a bull market. I have no doubt on that. Having said that, अभी ये 3 महीने से पहले अप टू लास्ट ईयर 2020 और 2021 के साल में हमने काफी शार्प गेन्स देखे थे इक्विटीज में. एंड आफ्टर दिस ऑल ऑफ अ सडन Russia's whatever attack on Ukraine, globally geopolitical environment and economic environment has become volatile, and because of which we are seeing a lot of volatility in markets. But I think ये अब हम लोगों को सबको समझ में आ गया कि वॉर का इंडिया पे कोई डायरेक्ट इम्पैक्ट नहीं है. सो वी आर मच बेटर प्लेस्ड. एक जरूर थोड़ा इम्पैक्ट है मीडियम टर्म लॉन्ग टर्म व्यू से, वो है मीडियम टर्म व्यू से, वो है कि ऑयल प्राइसेस हैव गॉन अप एंड इंडिया इज अ बिग इंपोर्टर ऑफ ऑयल. तो इट्स अ pain or a significant cost to India in that sense, and it hurts Indian economy to that extent, I would say. So that really hurts us in India. But for that, the fact is that Indian economy is doing reasonably well. And पिछले 2 साल, last 2 years, 2020 and 21 was about lockdowns and unlocks. अब ये साल से इकोनॉमी पूरी तरह से खुल गई है. तो we believe and we are seeing signs of that कि we are going to see very strong recovery in Indian economy, and वो काफी visible भी है, बहुत सारे sectors में दिख रहा है हमें कि demand is very strong. So I firmly believe one that from a slightly more medium term perspective, अगर हम 1 साल का 2 साल का 3 साल का we take 2 year 3 year 1 year 3 year 5 year view, then the outlook for Indian equity remains strong and India as an economy remains very strongly placed. Fact is कि अब ये साल 2022 जो year है, इसमें China की growth will be something like 4.5% or thereabouts 5%. So at 7% growth or 7.5% growth that India will do, we will amongst the large economies, we will be the fastest growing economy in the world. And अब यहाँ से आगे जाके चाइना की ग्रोथ 5% के आसपास ही रहेगी, because China has become a very large economy, the growth has peaked, and if they can grow at 4-5% on this base, that is also very good for them. But that effectively means that for the next 15 years, I believe India will remain the fastest growing economy in the world, because China's growth has peaked and China is slowing down. So as a result of which, I think as and when globally environment becomes more stable, also another thing we have witnessed in the last 4-5 months, we have seen significant amount of FII selling by foreign investors into our equity markets, and that has happened not only in India but all other emerging markets or as well, and that is because of the volatile geopolitical environment. But as and when the global environment stabilizes and foreigners start investing back into emerging markets, which they will, because emerging markets offer much higher growth, India will attract disproportionate amount of significantly higher amount of capital inflows, because India will be the fastest growing economy in the world, and who doesn't want to invest into fastest growing economy? जैसे कि हम लोग सब हाई ग्रोथ कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं या फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं ताकि वी कैन मेक हाई रिटर्न्स. Likewise, foreigners want to invest in the fastest growing economy in the world, and from that point of view, India becomes an extremely attractive investment destination for foreigners. So I think one, India's growth is still strong and we are the fastest growing economy in the world. There's no denying the fact. And the second fact, by virtue of that, that effectively means our growth will be strong, and secondly will attract significant amount of capital. I think equity markets will do well on a medium term to longer term time frame, though in the short term there can always be and there will be volatility. And that is the nature of equity markets. So, and whenever there is a significant sharp drawdown or sell off in the equity markets, rather than capitulating to it या उस समय पैनिक होने के बदले हमें उसे एक अपॉर्चुनिटी समझना है और इंडियन इक्विटीज में इन्वेस्ट करना है, because it's my firm belief that Indian equities will do well over the next 15-20 years. Probably the best performing equity market in the world over the next 10-15 years will be Indian equity market, and which is why every investor, foreign investor, would want to invest into Indian equities. And that being the case, there is no reason why we as Indians should not participate into it, because अगर हमारी इकोनॉमी की ग्रोथ फास्टेस्ट है और हमारे यहाँ पे अनलाइक चाइना जहाँ पे डेमोक्रेसी नहीं है तो कैपिटल मार्केट्स फ्री नहीं है, हमारे यहाँ पे कैपिटल मार्केट्स एकदम फ्री हैं, तो there is no reason why our markets should not be also be the markets which will deliver the best or amongst superior returns or the best returns from an equity perspective amongst all the global markets. And if that being the case, that becomes an extremely attractive investment proposition for anyone investing into equities all over the world. And which is why I say that we as Indians, whenever जब भी मार्केट में जैसे ये वॉर हो गया बीच में, अब ये कुछ लास्ट 2-3 दिन में मार्केट फिर वॉलेटाइल हो गया, एंड विल डिस्कस अबाउट दैट, तो जब भी इस तरह से बहुत ज्यादा पैनिक हो जाए मार्केट में, एक्सक्यूज मी फ्रेंड्स, बहुत ज्यादा पैनिक हो जाए मार्केट्स में, तो उस समय हमें उसे एक अपॉर्चुनिटी समझ के उसमें इन्वेस्ट करना है, ना कि उस समय घबरा के बेचना है, मतलब. सो दैट्स ऑन दैट. As far as RBI policy hike is concerned, which happened, I think on Monday, I think if I'm not mistaken, Monday or Tuesday, Wednesday, I think. So I think the fact is RBI ने जो रेट हाइक किया उसके बावजूद भी आज हमारे रेट्स जो है वो कोविड के पहले जो आरबीआई के रेट्स थे उससे अभी भी कम है. सो ऑल ऑफ अस नो कि जब कोविड क्राइसिस हुई थी तब वर्ल्ड ओवर सेंट्रल बैंक्स ने एंड इंडिया में आरबीआई ने भी काफी जोर से रेट्स कट किए थे to support the economy, to support the revival of the economy. So अब क्योंकि economies recover हो रही हैं and to some extent inflation worldwide is very high and India में भी inflation high चल रहा है. So it's time for central banks to restore rates to level जहाँ पे वो कोविड के पहले थे, कोविड क्राइसिस के पहले थे, क्योंकि अब कोविड क्राइसिस खत्म हो चुकी है एंड इकोनॉमीज जहां प्री कोविड पे थी उस लेवल पे वापस आ चुकी हैं. तो इट्स टाइम दैट सेंट्रल बैंक्स जो रेट्स जो उन्होंने एक्स्ट्रा रेट्स कट किए थे या इकोनॉमी को सपोर्ट करने के लिए जो इन्फ्यूजन किया था लिक्विडिटी का, वो अब धीरे धीरे वो विड्रॉ करते हैं ताकि इकोनॉमी नॉर्मलाइज हो जाए. तो आई थिंक ये दिस रेट हाइक वाज फ्रॉम आरबीआई वाज वन इन द सेम डायरेक्शन. तो it had a short term negative reaction on the market, पर I'm of the opinion कि इससे हमें ज्यादा घबराना या पैनिक नहीं होना चाहिए, because rates were, अगर आप देखेंगे जनवरी 20 में, फरवरी 20 में, before COVID hit us, RBI की rates was higher than where it is even today also. So RBI would like to take the rates back to where they were in January 20 or February 20 pre-COVID, and which effectively means, in fact, not only this, they will do another rate hike in month of June. जून में एक और रेट हाइक करेंगे और एक 50 बेसिस पॉइंट शायद जून में और करेंगे मुझे लगता है, और बाय द एंड ऑफ द ईयर तक एक 25 बेसिस पॉइंट्स और करेंगे, तब जाके प्री कोविड आरबीआई की जो रेपो रेट हम जो बोलते हैं वो 5.25% थी. तो अभी ये जो रेट हाइक किया आरबीआई ने उसके बाद भी रेपो रेट इज 4.40. तो अभी भी एक 80 बेसिस पॉइंट्स का गैप है जो कोविड के पहले जो आरबीआई की रेपो रेट थी और अभी जहाँ पे हम हैं. And I think RBI will normalize that, and because economy is strong, तो हमें उससे मतलब it will not, I don't think so कि अगर income level strong है, economy में growth है, तो आधा टका या 1% इंटरेस्ट रेट बढ़ जाने की वजह से उससे कोई हमारी ग्रोथ पे इम्पैक्ट होगा. And this is nothing but a normalization of interest rates. So it can have short term volatility, but जो कि मार्केट में हमने देखी है, but I think longer term I don't think so it has any negative implication for the economic growth of India. Other thing is, and I can see some questions around that, people asking how long this war will continue and all of that. So ये थोड़ा सा this war has turned out to be a पहली बात तो it's मतलब it just come as a surprise, and it's मतलब it's turning out to be a bit of a tricky thing, because जब 24th Feb को Russia attacked, they made the first attack on Ukraine. Everyone in the world thought कि ये एक हफ्ते में खत्म हो जाएगा, Russia will overpower Ukraine and they'll control Ukraine. But the world was extremely surprised by the strong fight back or resistance which Ukraine put up, which no one expected. And then everyone thought कि if Ukraine can put a very strong resistance, then probably Russia and Ukraine, there'll be a ceasefire in the next 30-40 days. Unfortunately, it's already now, I think we are 70 days or close to that, and there's no ceasefire in sight. So the question is, where is it headed? Now, from whatever I can see, and I understand from whatever I've read, and I've spoken to some of international experts on the subject who understand the situation much better, it seems like my view is that ये intensity of fight gradually धीरे धीरे कम हो जाएगी, पर ये थोड़ा ये this might go on for a long time. Meaning, just think about it as a situation where US attacked Afghanistan and that whole thing continued for 20 years. It took 20 years before US withdrew its army from Afghanistan. I am of the view that the Russian army cannot completely exit Ukraine before 10 years. The history of the world is that if any country sends its army into another country's territory, they cannot exit that before 10 years. So the intensity of this will come down. The world will learn to live with a conflict. And to my mind, this will become another classic case of a US Afghanistan episode, where Russia will just Ukraine will become a completely disturbed geography, or some parts of Ukraine will remain completely disturbed, and some sort of a some low intensity fight or something like that will keep going on for a long period of time. So I don't, it's a very unfortunate situation, but there's no short-term solution in sight, and there are multiple reasons for it, multiple geopolitical reasons for it, and so on and so forth. Maybe there is a conspiracy theory that US does not want the ceasefire to happen because US wants Russia to be busy with Ukraine for a long period of time, so that they don't have to bother about Russia anymore, and they can focus on China. And likewise, there are many conspiracy theories, but it seems like because that this could continue to remain a conflict zone, and we'll have to learn to live with it. The good news is that the good thing is that it doesn't have, we don't have very high trade with Ukraine in any manner, so that does not impact us. To some extent, we get impacted by high oil prices, for which the world will have to find a solution to get more oil out of the ground, because that hurts not only India, but that hurts the entire world. But India more because we import large part of energy. But despite this whole volatile political situation, I think our growth will continue to remain strong. So that's on this. So the net point I'm trying to make, friends, is that Indian economy is on a very strong wicket, and the outlook continues to remain strong. So we should, and given that uh, given that outlook for equity markets continues to remain strong, and be given that every time if there is a sharp volatility or a capitulation in equity markets, I would only request that use that as an opportunity to buy into equities rather than capitulating onto it, and stay invested with slightly more medium term to longer term view. What I'll do is now very quickly, I'll run you through a presentation on our advisory portfolios, alpha portfolios, alpha core and satellite, and alpha dynamic thematic portfolio, and then we can open the floor for Q&A. Yeah. So just bear with me, friends, for a second until I share my screen with you and a brief presentation with you.
Sir, you're on mute. You are still on mute.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are audible now. But as soon as you go to the presentation, you get yourself unmuted.
Oh, is it? 1 second. Let me just try it again.
Now you are again on mute.
Oh, is it, there's some issue where the moment I start the sharing, it goes on mute. I don't know why. Chalo, let me run you through without the presentation. Let me.
Okay, so you can share it. You can share the presentations later to me. I will
Yeah,
make
you can
sure that
settle
all
it for
my
everyone.
yeah, I
Yeah,
will share it with the audience side.
yeah, share with everyone. But let me just brief
Yeah,
them.
please.
So
Thank you.
the idea with friends, core and satellite portfolio is very simple. Is that all of us, when I'm sure you're familiar with the advisory portfolios and that we have on the IIFL platform. What we're trying to do is we are trying to use the best of with our objective with advisory portfolio is simple. We're trying to use the best of our research capabilities, which is equivalent to what any mutual fund would have or institution would have in India, and we're using all of that to create these portfolios and bring it to retail investors. So in a way, I believe that this advisory portfolios is a great way of democratizing investing, because it allows us to bring our institutional investment and research capabilities to the investors, and at the same time, unlike a mutual fund where you do not get to see the each and every transaction that the fund house is doing, because mutual fund is like a black box. You just get a NAV and you get month-end portfolio. During the month, what the fund manager or the portfolio manager has done, you do not get to know. Here, in case of advisory portfolio, you get to know each and every trade and each and every transaction, and which is why I call it as democratizing investment, because the investors are participating into the entire investment process, and they know each and every transaction. This thing. So the idea, we have two portfolios on IIFL Securities platform. हमारा एक जो portfolio वो अल्फा कोर एंड सैटेलाइट है. अल्फा कोर एंड सैटेलाइट का आइडिया बहुत सिंपल है. वो ये है कि एज इन्वेस्टर हम लोग सब दो चीज करना चाहते हैं. ऑल ऑफ अस वांट टू, एक हम थोड़ा बहुत एक पोर्टफोलियो से हम कुछ ना कुछ एक हम जो टैक्टिकल इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं, ट्रेडिंग करते हैं, जिसको मैं बोलता हूँ कि हम आज कोई स्टॉक लेते हैं, फिर वो 3 महीने 6 महीने में 20-30% बढ़ जाता है तो हम उसको बेच देते हैं, और वो उसमें जो प्रॉफिट आता है उसको फिर हम यूज करते हैं हमारे लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट पोर्टफोलियो बिल्ड करने के लिए, जो कि हम 3 साल 5 साल होल्ड करेंगे. सो आइडिया विद कोर एंड सैटेलाइट इज कि हम वो दोनों चीज instead of investor doing it, we will do it on behalf of the investor. Because अगर investor करेंगे तो they might not follow at times strict stop loss policy. They might at times invest into companies which are poor quality, या और उसमें फंस जाएंगे. फिर हम लोग क्योंकि क्वालिटी फिल्टर बहुत स्ट्रांगली यूज करते हैं हमारे इन्वेस्टमेंट प्रोसेस में, सो वी इन्वेस्ट ओनली इन क्वालिटी कंपनीज, एंड हम एक डिसिप्लिन अप्रोच फॉलो करते हैं. So idea with core and satellite is simple. There is a core portfolio which is 70% of the portfolio, which is 3 to 5 years of investment horizon, and there is satellite portfolio. Satellite portfolio का मतलब ये है कि हम एक रेगुलर इंटरवल पे उसमें जैसे भी स्टॉक्स में हमारा एक रीजनेबल एप्रिसिएशन बन जाता है, तो उसमें प्रॉफिट बुकिंग करते रहते हैं और फिर उस पैसे को हम लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट करते हैं. तो एक ही पोर्टफोलियो में हम जो टिपिकल इन्वेस्टर करना चाहता है वो दोनों चीज हम इन्वेस्टर को एक साथ ऑफर कर रहे हैं, और वी ऑफरिंग बोथ द थिंग्स टू द इन्वेस्टर बाय वर्च्यू ऑफ वन सिंगल पोर्टफोलियो, and we are really solving for his problem. We are telling investor that instead of you doing short-term tactical investing or trading from a 3 to 6 months point of view, you allow us to do it, because we'll do it in good quality companies, and we follow a strict discipline with a stop loss, and we'll not invest in poor quality companies. And at the same time, we'll keep rebalancing the portfolio at regular intervals, so that what the profits we make out of that, we'll invest from a longer term perspective, for a 3-year 5-year perspective, and in one product we give you both the solution. I believe there is no comparable product like this which is available in India, either on the advisory platform or on the mutual fund platform. Mutual fund में भी इंडिया में किसी ने ऐसा कोई प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च नहीं किया, so it's a very unique product, and you'll be very happy to know that the fund has done extremely well. This fund has finished 2 years for us. In the last 2 years, it's beating all the multi-cap and flexi-cap funds in India in terms of performance. The fund has had an outstanding performance. Meaning, if I can highlight some numbers to you here, last 1 year, both on a 1 year and 2 year basis. So last 1 year, end of April, जब Nifty 200 was up by 18.7% or 19% roughly, this fund was up by 43%. It is given versus 19% Nifty return. This fund Nifty 200 return. This fund has given 43% returns in last 1 year, and last 2 years Nifty 200 is up by 80%, and this fund is up by 122%. So if you compare its performance with any of the multi-cap, flexi-cap mutual funds, it's beaten all of them by a very wide margin, very wide margin. So I would sincerely request you all friends to have a look at the fund and probably participate in the fund, because we think it's a great product from our end. The second product we have is what we call the Alpha Dynamic Thematic Fund. The idea with Alpha Dynamic Thematic Fund again is very simple. Generally, all of us invest into thematic funds, but one of the problems that we have while investing into thematic funds is that these themes keeps changing from time to time in the markets, right? And then what happens is हमने किसी इंफ्रा फंड में इन्वेस्ट कर दिया, राइट? पर वो 5 साल के बाद इंफ्रा थीम रिलेवेंट नहीं है, पर वो इंफ्रा फंड अभी भी चल रहा है, तो हमें पता नहीं है कि कब उस फंड से हमें पैसा निकालना है, एंड वी गेट लॉस्ट. So idea with dynamic thematic fund is that instead of every few years, we as fund managers will keep changing the underlying theme of the fund. So the theme of the fund is dynamic, so that the investor do not have to worry. They will never be invested into a theme which has become outdated or stale, because the fund manager, in keeping with times, changing times, will change the theme of the fund. So the investor doesn't have to do anything, and the portfolio will remain current or relevant to the current theme of the market. Again, this fund has done phenomenally well. In fact, in the last 1 year since we have launched, again, I would highlight that this is the best performing fund in India. It's beaten all the mutual funds. So I think the big advantage we have here is what I'm trying to highlight is, on one hand, it's an extremely transparent portfolio, because investors get to know each and every trade, because they are doing trades are happening in their account, and at the same time, we have portfolios, we are beating all the mutual funds, you know, and with extreme degree of transparency. And the cost of the whatever to an investor, the cost of the fund is in fact somewhat lower than what you end up paying in a typical mutual fund, or similar to a mutual fund. So I think I would sincerely request all of you all to have a close look at both the funds. Your counterpart at IIFL Securities has all the details. Feel free to take the details from them. Unfortunately, I'm not able to share the presentation with you all, because there's something going wrong with my voice, or it puts me on mute. But these details are with IIFL Securities, so I would sincerely request you to reach out to them, take the details of the fund, and participate yourself or through your clients into the funds, because idea is we want to bring the best of our investment capabilities to the clients in a very transparent manner at a lower cost, and give them a fund or a solution which is beating all the mutual funds. So we really want to add value to all the clients. Yeah, friends. So with this, I think there are a lot of questions I just kept seeing on the chat box also. I can take a pause and we can open the floor for questions, so that we can have a more interactive session. Viral, can we open the floor for questions?
Sir, we have already asked our entire team as well as our clients to write down their questions. So we will take all the questions coming in the Q&A box.
Okay,
we have already got a few questions. Dear friends, request you to stick to the questions and not to the stocks per se, because again, stocks per se will eat away a lot of our time. But still, those who have already shared, will try to ask those questions. Pankaj sir, would you be comfortable to answer the stock specific, please? Currently?
Yes, sure. To the best of whatever we can share on specific stocks, I'll be more than happy to answer. No problem.
Sure, sir, sure.
Only thing is, friends, whenever I answer any specific stocks, please do not take, as per regulations, we are not allowed to give any stock recommendation. So do not take as a recommendation that you go and buy that stock tomorrow. Our views can change depending on markets and all of that. So any action you take on a specific stock basis, any discussion we do here, should be subject to your own risk and your due diligence. Because idea is not here to give you any tip or a stock idea where you can go and make money tomorrow. Idea is to bring a culture of long-term investing, highlight the products through which at least we are trying to do that, and happy to share with you our views on the market and bring some discipline in investing and taking a long-term view on equity markets. Most important is consider equity as a core asset class of your portfolio. Meaning, I'm sure most of you or many of you invest into real estate also. तो जैसे हम लोग रियल एस्टेट एक बार खरीदते हैं, फिर उसको लाइफ लॉन्ग बेचते नहीं है, हमेशा रख के रखते हैं. मेरा एक ही रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप इक्विटी को भी ऐसे ही कोर एसेट समझिए और उसमें इन्वेस्ट कीजिए और उसको लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट रखिए, चाहे किसी भी फंड में रखें, कोई भी स्टॉक में रखें। एंड हिस्ट्री बताती है वर्ल्ड ओवर जो भी है कि लॉन्ग टर्म में इक्विटी जो रिटर्न दे सकती है कोई और एसेट क्लास नहीं दे सकती। So idea is to bring all of that. I'm happy to answer specific questions, but don't take that as a recommendation. Is my request.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
We have a couple of stock inquiry pertaining to Havels, Mindtree, and Wipro.
So देखिए, meaning first of all three are great companies, I think, in their respective sectors. Mindtree and Wipro, phenomenal companies in IT sector. Havels, the leading company in consumer durable companies. So all three are phenomenal companies, right? But we need to understand that, and these are large companies. So large companies also, businesses, when they become large, they are not completely immune to economic cycles. Havels is a fantastic company across, I'm sure all of us as consumers use their products, right? Whether it's our wires or cables or where electrical switches and switchboards, ghar ghar mein, matlab Havels, and all of us know that it's a good company because we use their product, and as a customer we trust the brand. So it's a great company, started maybe 20-25 years back. In last 20-25 years they've built a phenomenal company in what they are. And now and I think it's a great company. If you ask me my view on the company, I think it's a great company, very well run business. uh, uh, from a stock price point of view, now it's difficult to give a view which is next 3 months, 6 months, but if you ask me a view which is 5 years, I think it's a great business to own. It's a And because it's a great company, it's had a phenomenal growth. Also from a valuation perspective, it's a stock which is expensive, trades at about 55 times earnings multiple, but maybe rightly it deserves so. And within that, they have their own business cycles. Abhi, for example, because of this whole Russia thing, what we have seen is commodity prices बहुत जोर से बढ़ गए हैं. And Havels uses a lot of these commodities. For example, wire बना रहे हैं तो copper consume कर रहे हैं, या steel consume कर रहे हैं, या plastic PVC consumes कर रहे हैं, या electrical switches या switch boards बना रहे हैं तो उसमें plastics consume हो रहा है. तो उनकी raw material prices बढ़ गई हैं, as a result of which they will have to increase the prices of their finished products. प्रोडक्ट के प्राइस बढ़ाने पड़ेंगे, जो कि वो लोग धीरे धीरे बढ़ाएंगे. तो उसकी वजह से थोड़ी सी शॉर्ट टर्म में डिमांड, जब व्हेन यू इंक्रीज प्राइसेस, डिमांड कैन take some hit. So demand can slow down because consumers might buy less, or some consumers might buy a cheaper brand versus a Havels brand. All of those things will happen in the short term. But I think take a longer term view, and I think it's a great company to own. So that's what my view on Havels is. Mindtree and Wipro, again, some of the most fabulous companies in Indian IT sector. IT sector as a whole, I can tell you, will do phenomenally well. There's a very strong demand growth in overall IT sector, and this will continue for the next 5 years, 7 years, my view. Because after COVID, one thing has happened is that the whole world, दुनिया की जितनी भी बड़ी-बड़ी companies हैं, everyone wants to digitize their business. So, and if you want to digitize your business, if you're a large company, let's say if you are a JP Morgan Bank in US, or a Citibank, or a Bank of America, or a Walmart, and you want to digitize your business worldwide, then you need the help of these global IT companies, whether it's TCS, Infosys, Mindtree, Wipro. And as a result of which, all these IT companies are seeing a very strong demand for their business. The demand is so strong that the IT companies are struggling to hire engineers. There is a shortage of, there is a severe scarcity, I may say so, of good engineers in India. And I'm sure all of you would have experienced that or seen that amongst your friends, family members who are computer science graduates. Ki either they're getting very good jobs, or they're switching jobs and they're getting pay hikes and bonuses like crazy. So that is a fact that India is the factory of engineers in the world. We produce the highest number of engineers in the world every year. We have done it for the last 20 years, and we'll keep doing that for the next 20 years because of our sheer demographics. There is a huge demand for IT and digital services worldwide amongst all the companies. And अगर वो demand है तो उसको fulfill करने के लिए, चाहे वो कोई भी company fulfill कर रही है, चाहे Wipro कर रहा है, चाहे Mindtree कर रहा है, चाहे Infosys कर रहा है, चाहे Accenture कर रहा है, पर इन सब companies में 70% employees Indians ही हैं. So effectively, there is a shortage or scarcity of good quality engineering talent in India, because the demand is far higher than what India is producing every year. And which is why I think all the IT companies, including Mindtree and Wipro, will have very strong growth. Now, having said that, again, from a short-term perspective, markets are volatile. So these stocks have done phenomenally well over the last 2 years or 3 years. Now it's in the very nature of the market कि जब stock मतलब आज से 3 साल पहले Wipro was 15 PE पे था, Mindtree 20 PE पे था, अभी दोनों Wipro is at 25-30 PE पे चल रहा है, Mindtree 40 PE पे चल रहा है. तो stocks जब बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाते हैं, at some point of time they can have a correction, which is what these stocks are undergoing at this point of time. But I think I cannot tell you exact timing क्योंकि वो तो मुझे भी नहीं पता है. But I think one should use this correction to invest into these companies from a 3 to 5 year perspective because they have very strong growth prospects and both of them are very well run companies. And in fact, on IT, I myself and we are extremely positive on both Infosys and TCS, the leading companies of India. And Infosys and TCS are also part of our portfolios. I remain very bullish on IT from a next 5 year perspective. Within that 5 year, ऊपर नीचे चलता रहेगा देखिए. And which is where मतलब our core and satellite portfolio comes into play. कि we keep taking profits at regular intervals with the satellite portfolio. कि ऊपर नीचे volatility चलती रहेगी तो हम satellite portfolio में profit book करते रहेंगे और फिर उसको long term invest करते रहेंगे, है ना? So, Viral, I think I've answered all the 3 questions.
Yes, sir. Sir, your take on LIC?
LIC IPO, okay. I think investors should apply in LIC IPO. The good thing government has done is they've reduced the total size of the issue, so dilution को कम कर दिया, quantum कम कर दिया है, and more importantly, they have priced the issue very attractively. At 1.1 times embedded value पे जो IPO price किया, ये काफी attractively priced है. There is money on the table. Government ने money छोड़ दिया investors के लिए table पे because government wants investors, institutional investors, retail investors to make money. That's a separate story. एक साल बाद आके गवर्नमेंट फिर उसमें एक OFS करेंगे और अपना और डाइल्यूशन करेंगे, बट आई थिंक उस समय उनको अच्छे प्राइस पे करना है और उनको इन्वेस्टर्स की गुडविल भी कमानी है, इसलिए वो आज अट्रैक्टिव प्राइस पे कर रहे हैं ताकि एक साल बाद जब वो वापस सेकंड डाइल्यूशन के लिए आएंगे OFS के थ्रू तब दे विल गेट अ मच बेटर प्राइस. IRCTC में भी ऐसा ही हुआ था कि पहले गवर्नमेंट ने IPO अट्रैक्टिव प्राइस पे किया, बाद में 1.5 साल बाद में आके OFS किया था, तो इसमें भी वैसा ही होगा. सो आई थिंक इन्वेस्टर्स शुड अप्लाई इन LIC. इट्स अ गुड फ्रेंचाइज, लार्जेस्ट इंश्योरर इन इंडिया, एंड LIC इज लाइक स्टेट बैंक ऑफ द बैंकिंग सेक्टर. जैसे स्टेट बैंक लार्जेस्ट बैंक के बैंकिंग सेक्टर के, LIC इज द लार्जेस्ट इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, वेरी फॉर्मिडेबल, very dominant, and they'll continue to remain dominant in India for the next 15-20 years, 10-15 years because their sheer size and the issues are attractively priced. So I think investors should go ahead and invest into LIC IPO.
Thank you, sir. So we have one question pertaining to satellite portfolio. Mr. Nitesh wants to understand what is the percentage of stop loss you take in a satellite portfolio.
So ideally, about 50, we have 2 stop losses. So there is one at 15%, another is 20%. So in the satellite part of the portfolio, 20% is hard stop loss for us.
We have a question currently on which theme are you focusing in Alpha Dynamic Thematic Fund?
Yeah, very good question. So Alpha Dynamic Thematic Fund mein, the current theme that we are focusing on which the portfolio is built is what we call Unlock India. So idea with Unlock India is very simple. Ki last 2 years, the economy has been under a lockdown. So a lot of businesses have adversely suffered because of the lockdown. For example, hotel industry has suffered badly, travel industry has suffered badly, tourism has suffered badly. Retailing industry has suffered badly because we have shops were closed. So let's say one of our big holding in that portfolio is Aditya Birla Fashions, a company which is apparel retailing. They are the largest garment or apparel retailer in India with brands like Van, Louis Philippe, pantaloons and stuff like that. Because everyone was working from home, people, and there were no weddings and corporate events were happening, so people did not buy clothes. And their stores were also closed, so it impacted their business adversely. Now economy is opened up. All of us have started going back to the malls. Stores have opened up. Weddings are happening. Corporate events are happening. We've started going back to offices and workplaces. So we are buying new clothes now. And being the largest player, apparel retail, we think they'll be a big beneficiary of that. So that's one of our holding. Another holding in the portfolio is a company called Inox. All of us know Inox chain of theater. So last 2 years, theaters were closed and no movies were released. Now theaters are opened up. We've already seen some of the movies which have been released and the kind of blockbuster collection they've done, likes of Kashmir Files and RRR and all of that. So there are so many movies which will get released over the next 1 year, and people, all of us have not gone to the theaters. Going to theater and watching movies is part of our lifestyle, and all of us are eager to go back to theaters and watch more and more movies because we have missed that whole experience over the last 2 years. So as people do that, Inox will be a big beneficiary because they are the second largest theater chain in India, and now there is a merger that is happening between Inox and PVR. So both of them combined become the leader. So that is the idea. So the theme we are playing in Alpha Dynamic Thematic is Unlock India, which is investing into companies which will benefit out of as the economy unlocks. Last 2 years has been lockdown and unlocks, but now from here on, economy will get completely unlocked. So all the companies where business is strong and where business suffered because economy was locked down, and which will benefit because of this normalization of economy and unlocking of the economy, is where we want to invest into, because we think there is huge amount of money to be made into these kind of companies, because these companies were beaten down badly and there is huge growth potential in this company. So that is the theme we are playing, and which is why last 1 year the fund has done phenomenally well, meaning it's just beating all the mutual funds and all the advisory portfolios by a very wide margin, very wide margin.
Thank you, sir. We have one question pertaining to the charges. What are the entry and exit charges? So if you want, I can take this question, sir.
Yeah, please, we will go ahead.
Yeah. So our current charges is based on AUA, that is asset under advice, and it is 2.5% for the entire year, payable on monthly basis. And there are no exit charges, there are no exit loads per se. All these are portfolios where our fund managers just do the recommendation part, help you with the rebalancing part at a frequency, and once they have suggested anything, that suggestion goes to the customer for the execution part. The customer generally does the buying and selling at a click of a button. At one click of a button, he is able to rebalance his entire portfolio, and all the purchases happens through IIFL platform. Funds for the purchasing will be debited from the ledger, and stocks will be in the IIFL demat account itself. So you have the entire control. Customer has the entire control of buying, selling, and managing their funds and demat balance. So current, just to repeat, 2.5% is the annual charges payable on monthly basis. There is no exit load.
There's one question I saw in the chat box, Viral, which is people asking that is both are mutual funds. So I thought we'll just answer that.
Yeah, please.
So friends, these are not mutual funds. These are advisory portfolios. Advisory portfolios are different from mutual funds. I sincerely request you to get in touch with your counterpart at IIFL Securities, who can explain you in slightly more detail in terms of how the advisory portfolio works. It's a relatively new product which has been around for the last 2 years in India, and it's becoming popular. But globally, these are very popular because this allows the best of the fund managers to offer their products to the investors. And as I call it, I think these advisory products are, I think it's a democratization of investing, because mutual fund में आप invest करते हैं तो what you get is a NAV, but you don't know what the fund manager is doing in terms of what stock he's buying, what he's selling, and when he's doing that. Here you get to participate because you are doing all the trades. The fund manager is giving you the portfolio, and every time he's buying and selling, he's informing you immediately through the help of technology. वो एकदम real time basis पे आपको information आ जाती है through your WhatsApp and through your SMS and email. The fund manager has made changes to the portfolio. Now you have the option and you have to rebalance your own portfolio through that link. So you are yourself managing your money with the help of a fund manager, right? And this is like completely open box versus a mutual fund which is a black box. This is a completely open box. So I think it's a great product which brings the best of investment fund manager की capability. It brings in the hands of a retail investor, bringing the power in the hands of retail investors. So I suggest you go on the IIFL website and see this product, and please reach out to your relationship manager in IIFL Securities for more details on the product.
We'll take the next question. Sir, any updates on BITS strategy, bid strategy?
Oh, okay. So yeah, friends, I presume some of you have participated or are participating into our BITS AIF. that fund is coming up very well. I'm extremely bullish on that fund. It's a very high conviction from our point of view. I'm extremely bullish, I must tell you, on India's internet economy, and which is why we've launched that fund. Idea with that fund is very simple. If you look at my idea is very simple. कि last 15-20 years में जो US में हुआ है in the world of technology and internet, that will happen in India in the next 10-15 years. We are probably 10-15 years behind US in terms of internet and technology world. Abhi, last week there was a news item, I'm sure some of you would have observed, that in India now we've created 100 unicorns. Unicorn is a company, is a startup with $1 billion of valuation, and now we've created 100 such companies in India in a matter of 10-12 years, and probably the third largest in the world after US and China. I firmly believe over a period of time this number will go much higher. So India's internet economy has a huge prospect, and I believe that अगर India में internet और technology के world में जो भी last 15 years में US में हुआ है, वो जो आने वाले 15 साल में India में होने वाला है, तो फिर US में भी last 15 साल में देखिए technology companies में huge wealth creation हुआ है, be it Apple, Amazon and all of these companies. अभी short term में Nasdaq गिर रहा है, don't get confused by that, worried by that, but just think about last 15 years में ये सब companies में पैसे जो हैं, money जो है, wealth creation जो है, 300-400 times हो गया है, and there are hundreds of such internet technology companies, right? And in fact Nasdaq अभी गिर रहा है, but Nasdaq last 15 years में has been the best performing index world over. World over, the best performing index has been the Nasdaq index. So the point I'm trying to make is that if that is the case, then similar amount of wealth creation will happen in India in the next 10-15 years as all of us use more and more technology in our daily lives. For example, today we are doing this webinar on Zoom. We are using technology, right? A lot of you, I'm sure, have moved from reading newspaper physically in your hand. During COVID times, physical newspaper nahi aa raha tha, so we started reading newspaper on our phone, on WhatsApp or on through web. So right, so we newspaper reading became digital. Likewise, everything we are doing more and more digital in our life. Instead of going to a shopping mall and buying a lot of things today, we are buying from Amazon, Flipkart, or some other website online. Our grocery store is online with JioMart and all of that. So we are buying groceries online with Dunzo and so many other this thing. So our life is becoming more and more digital, which effectively means anything we do digital effectively means internet technology companies are benefiting out of it. If we are doing this Zoom call on Zoom, so obviously Zoom is benefiting out of it. Also, maybe हम लोग सब इंटरनेट कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं, तो भारती या जियो को बेनिफिट हो रहा है बिकॉज हम उनको चार्जेस पे कर रहे हैं इसके लिए. So the point I'm going to make is internet and technology businesses will have very strong growth. Nasdaq has been the best performing index for the last 20 years in the world. And if that is the case, the idea with BITS is simple, that it is India's Nasdaq. So what has happened in US in the last 20 years in the world of Nasdaq will happen in India in the next 20 years in the world of Nasdaq. And India में हमारे पास Nasdaq equivalent index ही नहीं है, क्योंकि वहाँ पे Nasdaq exchange है और उसका इंडेक्स है. हमारे यहाँ पे टेक्नोलॉजी एक्सचेंज भी नहीं है और टेक्नोलॉजी इंडेक्स भी नहीं है. तो हमने ये फंड क्रिएट किया है which is nothing but a replica of Nasdaq in US, which is Indian Nasdaq, I would like to call. So I think the fund is coming up very well, and I am very confident that we'll do a good job with the fund.
Thank you, sir. We have one more question pertaining to the global market. In India, somehow we are able to manage the outperformance of all the markets. But do you think would it sustain for a long ahead of rate hike and inflation?
See, Fed rate hikes, inflation का I would say ऐसा नहीं है कि कुछ भी impact नहीं होगा, थोड़ा बहुत impact होगा. And in fact, I think ये जो foreigners की selling आ रही है Indian equity markets में over the last 4-5 months is partly because of the rising rates in US and the Fed rate hikes. But having said that, the only thing I want to make, friends, is now that, see, 10 years back, 2008, India was $1 trillion economy. Fast forward 2022, now we are $3.2 trillion economy. So in the last 15 years, we have made a lot of progress, and we are now a large economy. We are a relatively stable economy. This morning, there is a newspaper article that which is known to many people, that now at $600 billion of Forex Reserve, which RBI, Reserve Bank of India, has, we have the 5th largest foreign exchange reserve in the world, and the 4th largest is Russia with $607 billion. So some point of time, probably in the next 3-6 months, once our reserves cross $610 billion, we will overtake Russia and will become the 4th largest foreign exchange reserves holder by any central bank, in India's case, RBI. So the fact that foreigners are investing so much money in India, either through FPI in stock market or FDI investment by setting up plants and businesses in India, and RBI is holding such large amount of forex dollar reserves or forex reserves on its balance sheet, reflects the confidence that the world has on Indian economy from a longer term perspective. बिकॉज स्टॉक मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करके आप शॉर्ट टर्म में निकाल सकते हो, पर जब आप कोई प्लांट स्टैब्लिश करते हो, एप्पल का प्रोवाइडर है फॉक्सकॉन ने आके आज इंडिया में प्लांट सेटअप किया, या कोई फॉरेन कंपनी आके इंडिया में बिजनेस शुरू करती है, तो वो लोग तो शॉर्ट टर्म व्यू नहीं ले रहे हैं, दे आर टेकिंग अ व्यू व्हिच इज 10 ईयर 15 ईयर, बिकॉज बिजनेस आप चालू करके ओवरनाइट तो बंद नहीं कर सकते 1-2 साल में, वो तो आप 10 साल 20 साल का व्यू लोगे तभी जाके आप इंडिया में फैक्ट्री सेटअप करोगे। अभी एयर कंडीशन में इतनी सारी फॉरेन कंपनी में आके ये Daikin and all of that, all these fancy brands have set up factories in India because they see a huge potential in Indian markets, and not only selling here locally, but they want India's low cost production house, so they want to manufacture in India and exports. So the point I was trying to make, friends, is कि short term में ये सबका थोड़ा बहुत impact होगा, but medium term, longer term, Indian economy is very strong, and more foreigners, whether into stock markets or into our economy, they want to invest into India. Meaning Hyundai, let's say Hyundai is a Korean company, they have a manufacturing plant in India, and they want to expand capacity there. It's a matter of time. Tesla, if they want to become the largest EV company in the world, electric vehicle company in the world, they have no choice but to come and set up a plant in India, because India will become a large market for electric vehicles that no country can afford to ignore us. अभी इसमें सब आ ही गए, हमारे पास सब है, टोयोटा, होंडा, फोक्सवैगन, सब ने यहाँ पे प्लांट सेटअप करके रखा हुआ है, ठीक है, तो टेस्ला को भी आके सेटअप करना होगा. So I think slightly more medium term, longer term, the prospects for Indian economy are really promising. So all of this Fed rate hike might have short term impact, but longer term, medium term, 2-3 साल के व्यू से देखेंगे, मुझे नहीं लगता इनका कोई बहुत ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट होगा.
Thank you, sir. Sir, any view on Axis MF episode, what has been incurred yesterday? Just very short and brief. I know it is not the question of the in the right forum.
I think many of you know, friends, I was part of the founding team of Axis Mutual Fund, and I was the chief investment officer for the fund for a long period of time, for almost 9 years. It's very unfortunate what has happened, but I think now these are regulatory issues, so let's see what happens. Axis Mutual Fund has issued a press release yesterday that they are doing investigation, and they will, the only expectation I would have is they should comply with all laws and regulations, and any breach of that should be dealt with accordance with law. So it's very unfortunate what has happened. We don't know the full details of it. Probably once they complete their investigation, then we'll come to know. But I still think that Indian mutual fund industry is a great industry. It's a very competitive industry. There are very hardworking professionals here. Best quality of professional work in this industry. Such kinds of incidents can happen once in a while, but that does not take away the credit from the industry, that it's an industry which is very competitive and does great, phenomenal work for investors. It's unfortunate from my point of view that it happened at Axis, a company or organization that I set up and I was part of. But I think these are things which might happen in the journey of an organization, and what is important is how does the organization respond to that once something like this happens. And I'm sure there are competent people there, and they will take appropriate action so as to against whatever the circumstances are. But this should not let us lose our faith, I would say, in the mutual fund industry or in Axis as well, because I think it's a well-run fund house. So I think I'm sure once they complete their whatever they've said, they complete their investigation, they'll come out with the details of it, and they'll be very transparent in sharing with investors what has happened and what went wrong and how they've corrected it. So I don't think so there's any reason for panicking in any manner. I don't think so one should panic in any manner.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have a couple of more questions. Current market situation, on which theme or sector we can pick for next 2-3 years time horizon, and how you see the commodity prices if war would be there for a longer term.
So current market situation from a theme perspective, So as I said, friends, one, I've been bullish on this whole unlock theme. So sectors like hotels, I think hotels will do very well. In fact, it's already evident. I've been told that in a city like Bombay, जहाँ ये IPL वगैरह चल रहा है, it's extremely difficult to find hotel rooms in city of Bombay. And hotel room prices today are 1.5 times what they were pre-COVID. Pre-COVID के पहले जो hotels के room rates थे, आज उससे 50% higher है in most of the hotels in Bombay. So meaning there is a huge scarcity of hotel rooms in Bombay because people want to travel and go out on holiday because we have not traveled for last 2 years. And on top of that, there are IPL happening, there are corporate events happening, there are weddings happening and stuff like that. So hotel as an industry, I think, will do very well. So all the unlock sectors which are part of the unlock India theme, I am very bullish on, be it hotels, travel tourism, retailing, because as consumers, we have not gone out and done shopping, watching movies. So theaters, the exhibition companies like PVR and Inox, because we have not gone out to theaters, so everyone wants to go to theaters. So I am very bullish on that, and I am also positive on consumer. I am also positive on capital goods as a sector. So because I think our engineering and capital goods sector will do well, because we are seeing some very healthy signs of recovery in India's investment cycle, and that being the case, engineering and capital goods companies will do very well. So I'm very positive on engineering and capital goods as a sector. Also, I'm positive on consumer discretionary. So because consumers will spend, because they haven't spent for last couple of years, and there's a huge amount of pent up savings that exist in the wallet of the consumer, which they would want to spend. So these three sectors look very promising to me. What was the second question, Viral? Sorry, I missed.
The second question is the commodity prices. How do you see the commodity cycle?
Commodity cycle. So I think my view is that commodity prices will remain strong, firm. They'll be volatile, but my simple view is during this decade, okay, last 10 years में जो भी commodity prices थे, commodity prices will be much higher in this decade. This is a global trend and this will sustain. So this decade is about commodity companies, and in this decade 2020 to 2030, commodity prices will remain very firm or very strong. So on if you were to translate that into stock picking, I think commodity stocks बहुत volatile रहते हैं, but my suggestion would be whenever you see a very sharp dip in commodity stocks, because of volatility, market volatility, one should invest into commodity stocks.
Thank you, sir. We have a generic question from Vaishali. What kind of stocks and how many stocks are included in portfolio? And charges I have already explained, 2.5% on the yearly AUM base. So can we just explain what are the composition of our core and satellite portfolio and our dynamic thematic portfolio?
Both the portfolios have on an average between 20 and 25 stocks. So these are focused portfolios, and ideal portfolio number of stocks in the portfolio is between 20 and 25. Okay,
sir. So now we have a question from Mr. Mallikarjun.
In fact, one of the reasons, sorry, Viral. One of the reasons why portfolios, I highlighted this couple of times that our portfolios are beating all the mutual funds. So there are 3-4 reasons for it. One of the reason is our portfolio, unlike a mutual fund which has 40-50 stocks in the portfolio, our portfolios are which are diversified portfolios. These are focused portfolios with just about 20-25 stocks. So that is one of the reasons which is contributing to the such superior performance, because in stocks or companies which are doing well, when we have only 20-25 stocks in the portfolio, our weightage to these companies is reasonably sizable. Yeah, and because of which, जब वो stock move होता है, positive return देता है, तो we are able to capture a larger amount of positive return at the portfolio level. So which is why one of the reasons which is contributing to such excellent performance of the fund and beating all the mutual funds is that we are running focused portfolios of 20-25 stocks.
Thank you, sir. So can we also say that we do the periodic rebalancing we take the profits on table on a faster note as well, and non-performing stocks will move out of the portfolio also in that same point of time?
Yes, we do a rebalancing in a fairly disciplined manner. So we don't run, what you're saying is right, we don't run dead portfolios. Yes. We don't have dead stocks in the portfolio. The portfolio is very active. So which is why if we think a fund is stock is not doing well and unlikely to do well, we are happy to take portfolio action so as to make sure that the portfolio is very active and live portfolio, and we don't have dead stocks or dead wood in the portfolio.
Thank you, sir. Any view on Adani Wilmar?
I think it's early days because the company just got listed 3-4 months back. But from whatever I've seen of the company, it's a good business. But I think the valuations are very expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, so we don't own it at this point of time. But I think it's a good company.
And how do you see, sir? What is your past performance of 3 years in both our portfolios?
Friends, advisory as a business for us is 2 years old. In fact, the whole industry is just about 2 years old. So these portfolios, on the advisory portfolio, we have a track record now of 2 years. In 2 years' time, as I said, Alpha Core and Satellite is up by 1 second. I have the number. I have the presentation here with me. So, for example, if you look at a 2-year basis, Alpha Core and Satellite is up as a portfolio is up by 122%. Yeah, which is phenomenal in comparison to any other fund, and you would look at beating index by a wide margin. Alpha Dynamic Thematic is 1 year old because we launched the theme of Unlock India 1 year back when the second wave of lockdown आया था. So in last 1 year that portfolio is up by 50%. So I think this is the track record we have on both the portfolios. We have a longer term track record on our PMS portfolios, 3-year and 5-year, and that are also doing very well.
Okay, thank you. Brief update on Vfsa sector.
Banks as a whole has underperformed. All of us know that, but I think यहाँ से banks will perform. So I am positive on large banks in India.
Okay.
The larger banks in India, I think I am positive.
Okay. View on IEX?
View on IEX. IEX is a good company, I think, and a virtual monopoly in that sense. Yeah, because power trading, they are the leaders and very dominant leader. IEX is like the NSE of power trading market. NSE is 90% market share in stock trading, cash market, and futures, and similar is the case with IEX. So IEX is the NSE of power trading market. So because the rich valuation, short term stock can be volatile, but I think longer term it will do well.
Thanks, sir. So we have a question pertaining to: is this the right time to invest?
Is this the right
and
time
in which space?
So I certainly think this is a good time to invest because markets have corrected. They've been volatile over the last 3-4 months, and from the peaks correction bhi aa gaya market, my friends. And because this is volatility, foreigners have sold. There is some degree of fear in the mind of investors. Indexes are down by 10-15% from the highs, but stocks have fallen much more. So I certainly think if you have a time horizon which is even if I take a short, I count 1 year as a short-term time horizon, and for me, medium term is 3 years time horizon. So I'm just saying, even from a short-term time horizon, I think it's a good time to invest. But more importantly, take a medium-term time horizon of 3 years and 5 years, and a longer-term 5 years, and this is absolutely a good time to invest. Don't be worried about the short-term. कि 1 week में क्या होगा, 10 दिन में क्या होगा, short-term volatility and all of that. But if you're not thinking about that, then this is absolutely a good time to invest.
Thank you, sir, for your So we have
time. We overshot the time.
We have overgone the time. So we'll take our restricted questions. Last 2-3 questions, if anything. Please don't ask any stock specific questions. In case you have any last questions which we can ask to Pankaj sir, please feel free to write in the Q&A box. No stock specific, please. We'll just invest your 1 minute more, sir. In case anybody has any kind of a questions, they can write it to us. We'll make sure that entire presentation along with the video recording will be shared to you probably by Monday EOD. So So we have answered almost all the questions what has been given. So we'll just stick to two last questions, sir. Your view on fintech companies for future and your view on HDFC Group. That's it.
So fintech, see friends, I think fintech is a very exciting place because there is so much of innovation, so much of technology driven innovation and disruption. Both of that is happening simultaneously in the financial services space. Meaning, one classic example is we have seen what has happened to the broking industry. Large part of the broking industry has got commoditized with zero brokerage and stuff like that. And likewise, a lot of disruption is happening in each and every segment of the financial services industry. So I think it's an extremely exciting place to be in. Uh, uh, the only thing is that too many players, because the opportunity is so large, business opportunity is so large, there are too many players in every segment, which effectively means that eventually, when businesses become large, not all of these players will be successful. So I think fintech is a very exciting opportunity from a growth perspective in India, probably the most exciting opportunity, I would think so. But having said that, I also believe that not every company will be successful. There will be a lot of companies which will fail in the fintech space, and companies who succeed eventually will create a lot of wealth. Will become very large companies and will create a lot of wealth for all the investors. So, uh, so opportunity is large, but pick your companies wisely if you're investing into that fintech space, because a lot of companies will fail. So you have to be very wise in selection of companies. One, and second, on HDFC Group. Okay, I think it's a historical merger that they've announced between the bank and the HDFC parent, the mortgage company. Now, by virtue of this, HDFC becomes the second largest bank in India after State Bank of India in terms of balance sheet size, and the largest bank in the private sector, if you count only the private sector. I think it was very much needed. You look at China, the top 5 or 6 banks of China are 5 times, 6 times the size of Indian banks, be it a State Bank or HDFC. जो merged entity बनेगा, merged entity HDFC Bank. So China में जो leading banks है, ICBC है, China Agricultural Bank है, उनका size is 5 times, 6 times State Bank of India size of HDFC Bank and HDFC taken together. So if India as an economy has to grow and prosper, then we also need large banks who can lend, who can take risk, and help and play an important role in the growth of the economy. So I think that merger is very much meaning it's a very good thing to happen because we need large banks, and by virtue of merger, HDFC it gives now the power to HDFC because of its size to make larger investments and grow their business in the Indian economy, and plus more importantly become a leading HDFC is a leading bank in India. But now some point of time when India wants to become a leading economy in the world, then Indian companies also have to become leading companies in the world, not only in India but in the world. And for that they should have large size. And this merger is one step in the direction where some of these companies in India will become leading companies of the world. And I certainly think HDFC Bank will be the one. So I understand that stocks have underperformed in the last 1 year, but I still think that from here on, the merger is a very positive thing. And I don't know about the next because merger will take 15 months to complete because it's a complex merger. So I don't know about the next 3 months or 5 months, but otherwise I think take a 3-year view and 5-year view. I think HDFC Bank will perform, and they will deliver returns to investors. So I would not be too worried if I'm a long-term investor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. And definitely we will see good amount of traction in both our portfolios. The core and satellite portfolio has given a fantastic return of 122%, while the dynamic has given a returns of 50% plus in last 2 years. So in last 1 year. So hopefully our traction will continue. We'll be able to convince our customers as well to invest in these two portfolios. And Once again, I'm repeating the same thing again. Currently, both the portfolios are available on IIFL platform. You can just go to the IIFL app, go to invest, go to your small case, and then you will find both the portfolios there. Or you can go to the desk and find both the portfolios there. In case there is any trouble in locating the portfolios where they are about to and how to get yourself invested, please feel free to get in touch with your relationship managers. They will help you and guide you on how to subscribe both the portfolios. Thank you for your time once again, sir. And thank you, friends.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Viral, and thank you all friends for taking your valuable time out on Saturday morning. I have absolutely enjoyed this discussion with you all, and I'm sure you all enjoyed this discussion as well. And we'll certainly connect at some point of time in the future once again. So thank you all once again for your valuable time. I appreciate that.
Have a great weekend, sir.
Thank you, Viral.